But he wouldn't stop. Oh, Floyd was boxing him up. Yeah. So Floyd is just piecing him up. So Floyd, I mean, even at 46, he's the greatest of all time. He caught Floyd a couple times, some little shots, but mostly he's just getting boxed up, right?
Slow him down.
Joe Rogan couldn't hide his shock when he watched the sparring video where Terence Crawford was humbled by Floyd Mayweather just before his fight against Canelo Alvarez. I know sparring shouldn't be taken too seriously, but that was insane from a 48-year-old man against the current best in the world. The sparring video showed moments of Floyd evading Crawford's punches with his reflexes and countering with dangerous combinations. This particularly stunned Joe Rogan, who had supported Crawford's side in the GOAT debate before it.
So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler.
I'm a giant Crawford fan because I called his coming out fight against Bradus Prescott.
He's
and
special.
then various other stepping stones throughout his career.
I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock you.
Just after the fight, Joe Rogan had called Crawford one of the greatest boxers ever, ranking him above Floyd Mayweather and several other legends. However, after seeing that Crawford couldn't handle Mayweather in sparring even after Floyd had been retired for 10 years, Rogan immediately changed his stance. I'm mind blown right now. It's clear that Floyd remains the best ever. No generation can match him, and I must admit, he's built differently.
Boxed up by literally the greatest boxer of all time. But he was holding on quite a bit and wouldn't let go and was trying to hold and clinch and hit, which is something like right here, which is something you can do in MMA. So he's protecting himself from Floyd, but he's not letting go.
Well, the video clearly showed that the sparring was cut and edited. Hence, there's every possibility that things happened differently than what we saw in those few seconds.
This was evident in the sparring video, the same kind Floyd Mayweather released last year between Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney, where the first clip made it look like Gervonta was dominating until the full video came out. This has stirred more controversy around Floyd Mayweather and his decision to cut out portions of the footage.
Good look, baby. There you go. You only threw one. Good catch. Don't break. He's a beast. He's a beast. He's a beast, baby.
Well, the sparring video didn't just surprise Joe Rogan. Boxing fans worldwide expressed their shock, with Mayweather's fans mocking those comparing him to Crawford, while Crawford's supporters demanded the full footage. Floyd is so shady. Why cut out the video? I'm sure Bud destroyed him and the rest of it. That man's such a bad person, and Bud's always shown him respect, a Crawford fan said. Another fan disagreed, saying, Floyd's really the GOAT. His reflexes and combinations are still sharp even at this age. I'm sure the result would be the same if it were a real fight.
The Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT, greatest of all time, man. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to his coaches, not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists. Everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
When I looked at it, he came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from them, then it's hard for them to really land. You forced them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the loop in the right hands.
Another commented, Floyd's levels above fighters of this generation and every other one. His defense puts him far beyond anyone else. Crawford wouldn't hit him even if he tried. A fourth fan said, I was sure Crawford met with Floyd or Ball before fighting the way he did. Not saying he isn't skilled, but he followed a clear blueprint to win. He showed his own talent when he stayed in the pocket, though. And finally, one added, Floyd versus Bud is the reigning debate. Everyone gets compared to Floyd, from Ali to Pacquiao to Usyk to Crawford. Floyd's the measuring stick, and that's why he's the greatest.
If I take Floyd Mayweather in his absolute prime, and I take Manny Pacquiao in his absolute prime,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd still beats him.
Floyd beat everybody.
You don't believe there's a guy at 140, 147 in the history of boxing that could have beat Floyd in his prime?
It'd be tough. Floyd, man, that boy, man, that's the GOAT, man. That boy bad.
What makes it, I mean, because, and I told people, I said, look at Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's not that he trains, I mean, it's his life. And from the very beginning, he's like, I want to be the best.
When I fought Canelo, I was 36 and Canelo was 23, around the same age. Some of these guys won world titles and was undisputed champion. I think, the Tank age, the young low champions. Canelo was 23 with 43 fights and 30 knockouts.
But when asked if he believed he had surpassed Mayweather's achievements, Crawford refused to entertain comparisons. "Listen, Floyd was the greatest of his era, and I'm the greatest of mine," Crawford said at the post-fight press conference. "There's no need to compare." The debate, however, reignited about 15 minutes later when Alvarez, who had nothing but respect for Crawford in defeat, was asked which fighter was better, given that Alvarez, then 23, had suffered his first professional loss to a 36-year-old Mayweather in 2013.
Canelo a little worse than that, because that style of fight, I don't think he beats someone like Terence Crawford. But if I'm Terence Crawford, of course I'll fight him again. But this time, I'm the A side. I think Terence Crawford is going to be more confident next time, knowing that I can punch with this guy. I can take his shot. I'm faster.
He fought Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
He didn't do what the last two did.
Crawford deserves all the credit. "I tried my best tonight and just couldn't solve his style. He had everything," Alvarez said. "I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather." Unfortunately, Canelo's rival and Golden Boy promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, disagreed. "I have to disagree because Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo. He literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all, not once. And Crawford, yeah, he's more of a fighter boxer. Mayweather's more of a pure boxer, but I think Mayweather is much more superior than Crawford. Not because he beat me or it was close or anything, but I truly feel that technically, Mayweather is a better fighter."
And who would, because Canelo after the fight said that Crawford is way better than Floyd. You know Crawford, you know Canelo, you know Floyd. What do you think? Who would win in the fight?
My man. I have to disagree, because Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo. Like, he literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all. Not one time. And
to be fair, it's a debate that can't be settled so easily. Even though the eras of Mayweather and Crawford slightly overlapped, Crawford won his first world title in 2014, a year before Mayweather claimed the final title fight of his career before retiring for 2 years. Not to mention that Alvarez, whose resume surpasses Crawford's in terms of high-quality wins, had long been considered the ruler of his era until last weekend's result.
I like Crawford's style of fighting, the way he's gonna come after him. Mayweather, okay, let's do this. Money Mayweather, I think Crawford beats.
Okay. Pretty boy.
Pretty boy, I don't know. I think Pretty Boy, it might be Pretty Boy. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
For as spectacular as Crawford's last 3 fights have been over the past 2 years and the impact each had on his legacy, it wasn't until he beat Spence at age 35 that he truly earned recognition as one of this century's greatest boxers. And even though Crawford matched Mayweather as a 5-division champion, comparing the caliber of opponents they each defeated overwhelmingly favors Mayweather. Crawford won titles from unbeaten champions and impressive wins over Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, Victor Postal, Jeff Horn, and Madrimov. But his truly elite victories mostly revolve around Sean Porter, Spence, and now Alvarez.
Talented fighter, and that challenge for him pushed him even harder to train harder and to be better. That challenge, went up against Canelo, moving up 2 divisions, hearing that people say, "Oh, he didn't look too good against Madrimov, so how could he look good at 68?" Well, that motivated more, man. He trained hard.
Crawford also beat big names like Amir Khan and Kell Brook in PPV fights, but both were well past their primes. Mayweather, who was the true moneyman of his era and the highest paid boxer in history, reigned atop the P4P rankings for most of his career, boasting an almost unmatched streak of wins over current or future Hall of Famers like Arturo Gatti, Oscar de la Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Juan Manuel Marquez, Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Pacquiao, and Alvarez. He also secured highly impressive title wins over the likes of Genaro Hernandez, Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo, Zab Judah, Robert Guerrero, and Marcos Maidana.
Work on what you need to work on. Put your head down and grind. You get results like this.
I noticed that when I was watching the fight, that Terence Crawford specifically, whichever side that Canelo threw at him, Terence would respond with a shot from that side as well. Did you see that in the tape that you watched of Canelo as a weakness, where he was...
Comparing resumes, however, doesn't tell the whole story. Crawford was never half the showman or charismatic PPV draw that Mayweather was, which made it difficult for his former promoter, Top Rank, to land major fights for him as a high-risk, low-reward opponent. And even though Mayweather's resume should only age like fine wine in the coming decades because of the name value alone, the timing of many of his biggest fights still carries an asterisk for his harshest critics, given that, as the simultaneous P4P and PPV king, Mayweather had the leverage to fight everyone strictly on his own terms and schedule.
Using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that, but in certain situations he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his way.
We all remember that the Mayweather-Pacquiao super fight, which remains the richest title bout in boxing history, happened more than 5 years after its ideal time frame. Mayweather also made Alvarez drop 3 pounds to a catch weight, didn't fight Mosley until he was almost 39, and purposely missed weight by 2 pounds to gain an advantage against Marquez.
Where does Canelo go from here, Henry?
He needs to rematch. If I'm Canelo, I want to rematch Terence Crawford. He got schooled, bro. He got outboxed dude by Terence Crawford. And I know that he's itching to get that one back. The first time he fought Triple G, he came back the second time, and he legit beat Triple G.
Once in a lifetime fight, it doesn't need to be a rematch. I think Bud would do worse the next fight.
From his critics' standpoint, a contemporary like Crawford, with elite speed, power, and ring IQ, would be the exact type of opponent the prime welterweight version of Mayweather might have avoided. However you rank him, Crawford has that old-school grit and adaptability that suggest he could have dominated in any era, past or present. And even though it took longer than expected for him to shine this bright, there's still time for Crawford, especially if he decides to move up to 160 pounds, to build even more on what he's already achieved.
I truly don't know the answer.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that?
Floyd. Yes, sir. I
Floyd
love you, Terrence.
always figures it out.
Yeah.
Despite boxing fans constantly comparing Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, Bud refused to take away the 50-0 champion's rightful credit. Terence Crawford respects Floyd Mayweather deeply. And when asked about their similarities, he had a few more words to add. "He's the king," Crawford said, praising and acknowledging Floyd's greatness. He continued, "We have quite a lot in common in certain ways, but we're a little different because I take more chances." Earlier in his career, he was taking plenty of chances too. It just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. I mean, are you talking about Money or Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy type. Then he started having hand injuries, so he couldn't really maintain the same power, and he was moving up and fighting bigger guys.
Excuse me, Crawford. You know, right now, but earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know, it just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you talk about. Do you talk about Money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy.
As Crawford mentioned, they do share several similarities. However, boxing fans and analysts have compared both fighters to determine who's better. When they did, a new report favored Crawford as the likely winner in a head-to-head matchup. In terms of pure boxing skill, it's difficult to find another craftsman who delivered more sweet science masterclasses than Floyd Mayweather Jr. His crisp jab, precision, timing, and counterpunching mastery allowed him to dissect opponents across two versions of himself.
Reach from the left hooks again. And the lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him. And then he hit his head off the miss here at the engine.
Just as Crawford pointed out, Pretty Boy Floyd was the more aggressive fighter, bringing the action to his opponents, while Money Mayweather later evolved to outthink and edge them with tactical brilliance. Whichever version you prefer, both eras built the legend that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. Comparatively, fans are still amazed by what Crawford did to Spence in his most recent fight.
He drops him again. That's a hard knockdown this time with the left hook. How about that? Keeps battling, falling forward. Uppercut! Terence Crawford has stopped!
Whether it was the power jab he kept snapping through Spence's guard, punching effectively in traffic, or his perfectly timed counters, Bud displayed supreme boxing ability. And while it wasn't the first time, we'd never seen it done like that against a fighter of Spence's caliber. When it comes to pure skill, arguably no one surpasses Mayweather. Yet Crawford's boxing style is different, still effective and explosively unique. So how would a prime Crawford fare against a prime Mayweather, using his laser-like shots against Floyd's disciplined sweet science? Who would establish the jab first? Who would be the sharper counterpuncher? There are countless ways this could unfold, making it fair to call this category a draw. How many times have we seen Mayweather lure opponents into the center of the ring, process their tendencies, and upload the blueprint to systematically break them down? He used his ring IQ and philosophy of hit and not get hit to write his name into the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division champion. Likewise, Crawford, by becoming undisputed at both junior welterweight and welterweight, has displayed a brilliant ring IQ throughout his own career.
His IQ in that success is crazy.
Has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out. You know?
That's true. But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
gotta pioneer it, right?
Yeah, you gotta. There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere, and I just believe.
Mayweather showed incredible hand speed, especially when counterpunching. But Crawford's slicing angles and whipping delivery give Bud an edge in speed. Of Mayweather's 50 victories, 27 came by knockout, compared to Crawford's 40 wins, with 31 by knockout, and he's still active. Revisiting Crawford's masterclass over Spence, where he dropped him 3 times en route to a dominant 9th-round TKO, highlights just how dangerous his precision remains.
Hook, you want to change you want to hook from the hips. So when you hook, boom. This toe gonna go up, and this one gonna go down. So you here, and it's gonna go boom. So you can do a 45, or you can do straight. Come straight from the shoulders, boom. Open it up a little bit, bam. Get that, there you go. So, yeah, so you want to come, everything you do, you want to come from the shoulders, boom. Just turn it. When you coming in there, you hear, boom. And that's where that torque gonna come from. The hips, your legs.
Decimating a power-punching, body-breaking fighter like Spence, who systematically dismantled Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Eudenis Ugas to unify the welterweight titles, was anything but simple. Yet Crawford made it look effortless, with his power being a major factor. Mayweather, on the other hand, painted defensive boxing perfection, raising that shoulder in the Philly shell to absorb shots and using his free hand to counter with surgical accuracy. Crawford's defense is slick too, but Mayweather elevated the art of defense to near perfection.
Fighter, boxer. Mayweather's more of a boxer. But I have to disagree. I think Mayweather is much more superior than Crawford. Not just because he beat me and it was a close fight, whatever, you know, or that I stepped in the ring with Mayweather, but I really feel that.
So how would a prime Crawford versus Mayweather fight actually go, and who would win? After a cautious opening round as both men feel each other out, Crawford would likely be the more active fighter early, launching frequent shots even if many are absorbed by Mayweather's shoulder and elbow. By the middle rounds, Floyd's rhythm would take over as he peppers Crawford with jabs and starts banking rounds.
unbelievable. Young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. You're where and then he's nowhere. You think you can. And again, it's not just hand quickness, it's the movement of the head, the way he rolls with punches. Look at the way he makes them miss. I mean, here we go. Through a series of punches and nothing really landed. Terrific fighter. For Mayweather.
Yet under constant pressure, Crawford's firepower could trouble Mayweather, even hurting the legend at moments. As close as the fight could be, Crawford's aggression and whipping punches might earn him favor with the judges, granting him a points victory over Mayweather's technical precision. For as humble as Terence Crawford was after his career-defining win over Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed crown, the rest of the boxing world refuses to let the debates about his historical greatness fade away so easily. And that's all for now. For the best boxing news, highlights, and moments, stay connected by subscribing to our YouTube channel and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our next drop. Until next time, peace out.